Good morning. It's great to be back here at my alma mater, and I want to thank our superintendent, Terry Clark, that's with us, and also Karen Fiker from the Board of Education, our president. Thank you very much, and certainly great to be here with another alumni, my wife Linda, who was the captain of the kick line. She's gone from the Golden Girls to the Olden Girls, but so was Karen. They're proud of that. They're proud of that. But it's great to be here, and certainly to join with Governor Cuomo and all my colleagues in government. From Nassau County, certainly we have a good friend, legislator Rose Walker. And I'm thrilled the governor chose to sign this very important legislation right here in Bethpage at my alma mater. This will certainly help strengthen student safety, with no doubt. In Nassau County, I had a recent traffic study, and it produced some very alarming results. So if you can imagine this, over 200 cars a day in Nassau County, in the limited schools that we surveyed, exceeded the posted limit by 25 miles per hour. And that's during school hours, by over 25 miles per hour. And that should serve as the reason that we are here today to sign this legislation. I want to thank Governor Cuomo and certainly the state legislators who came together to pass this pilot program, as it will protect our children and it will serve as an important message to motorists to exercise care in school zones, especially during school hours. The safety of our children will always be our foremost priority, and this law will be a significant step in the right direction. It's about awareness, it's about paying attention, certainly during school hours when you're driving through school zones, and clearly in every school district, and especially here as well, all of our students need to cross the roads to get to our schools. So there's no reason for someone to speed 25 miles an hour over the limit. Here, you will only receive a ticket if you exceed it by 10 miles per hour, which is fast enough. So we ask our motorists to slow down in our speed zones, or you will be facing a ticket. But with that, again, I am very, very thrilled to be here with Governor Cuomo. Clearly here in Nassau County, we have worked in a bipartisan manner. We've put people before politics, and that's what governing's about. And that's why we have legislators here from both sides of the aisle. We have a governor that reaches out across the aisle time and time again to do the right thing for the people of Nassau County, the people of the state of New York. And Governor, thank you again for being here today. It is my honor to join with you and to introduce another great colleague, yes, on the other side of the aisle, but someone that we work with almost daily, I would say, but certainly weekly. I speak with County Executive Steve Bellone to see how we can work together to make Long Island a better place to live, work, and raise a family. And now it's my honor to introduce my friend, County Executive from Suffolk, Steve Bellone.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be here with my good friend and his alma mater. And of course, Linda was the captain of the kick line team, so I asked Ed if he was the captain of the football team. That's what Ed said. Absolutely not. But it is an honor to be here with my good friend who we've worked together on so many important issues for our region in a bipartisan way. And this is a great day for us. And I'm proud to welcome once again Governor Cuomo back to Long Island. You know, our region today, we are in a much better place than we were just a few years ago, thanks to the leadership of Governor Cuomo. Whether it's property tax relief for our residents, job creation here, and of course his leadership in helping us to recover from the greatest natural disaster we have ever faced, Superstorm Sandy. We are doing well, we are doing much better today thanks to Governor Cuomo's leadership, and I want to welcome him here again to Long Island and thank him for being here on another important issue. And today is a really important day, a long-awaited day for all of us in Long Island, because we're one step closer to putting in place an important safeguard to keep our children safe. Our most important responsibility, we do many things in government, but our most important responsibility is to make sure that we provide a safe place for our children to become educated. Speed cameras send a simple message to drivers. If you go over the speed limit, you will receive a ticket. So the answer is, quite simply, don't risk it. Take a few extra minutes to get to where you need to be, because those few minutes could save a life. There have simply been too many tragedies as a result of reckless driving not to take additional steps to protect our kids. Today continues our work as a state and a county to make our communities safer. And I thank Governor Cuomo for signing this bill into law today. This legislation is the result, of course, of another successful legislative session in Albany. And I thank all of our lawmakers who put politics aside to pass important measures like this one, the one that the governor is signing here today. So again, Governor, my thanks to you for signing this legislation and once again delivering for the people of Nassau and Suffolk County, all of us here on Long Island. And with that, I have the privilege of introducing another good friend, my colleague and friend, Assemblyman Chuck Levine.
So let me begin by acknowledging some of my colleagues who are here from the New York State Assembly. Assemblyman Mike Montesano. Mike, where are you? Yes, a little applause, a lot of applause for Mike Montesano. Joe Saladino. Dave McDonough. Dave, thank you for being here. Ed Hennessy. And Assemblyman Phil Ramos. Phil, where are you? Well, good morning, Long Island, and good morning, Bethpage. I could not be prouder than to be here with all of you today to celebrate a true accomplishment that's going to protect the safety of our kids and the safety and the well-being of their families and the safety and the well-being of our community. I am extraordinarily pleased and honored to have, along with my colleagues, fought for this bill that Governor Cuomo is going to sign in just a few minutes. This bill is going to add speed cameras to school zones right here in Nassau County. These cameras are proven deterrents, and they are going to encourage our drivers to slow down where they should slow down and to be carefully, especially when traveling in a school zone. In recording the speed violations, the law is going to help law enforcement catch speeders and prevent accidents. And with the proceeds from the tickets that are going to be written, local revenue streams are going to be supported as well. So I want to certainly thank the many community leaders, advocates, and citizens, and elected officials who helped bring this issue to the forefront. And I want to especially thank Governor Cuomo for his leadership in bringing this bill to a reality and in coming here today to sign it. So what we're going to do here today has a ceremonial quality about it. But what we're going to do here today is far more significant than anything ceremonial. I have a very vivid recollection of having been a youngster, and it was right about the time that, long ago, that the Golden Eagles won their first cross-country championship in about 1960. And my friends and I are playing ball in a schoolyard, and we hear the screech of brakes and we hear a scream, and one of our friends did not survive that particular day. When this bill was first discussed, that's what came to my mind. Who knows what would have happened back in those many, many years ago? But there's every possibility that had we been more conscientious in those days, and had we been able to employ the sort of technology that we will employ today, that kid would have made it home and her family would not have mourned each and every day of all these years. So while this is certainly significant ceremonially, it is even more significant because this law is going to protect our kids and our families. This has certainly been a banner year for legislation in Albany, and today's signing is just another indication, another step in the right direction for New York and for Long Island. And it is a sign of the progress, the new progress that we are seeing under the leadership of Governor Cuomo. I would now like to introduce my colleague and my friend from the state legislature, Senator Marcellino, and let's give him a warm welcome.
As Chuck said, it's warm, but not too warm. First, I'd like to introduce, on the first thing, good morning. Welcome here, and good to see you. Good to see a lot of the young people here today, because this is what this bill is all about, and what the signing here is all about. And I see law enforcement, and we're going to need them too, to work together, because that's what we need. We're also going to conduct, I chair the Committee on Investigations, as the governor well knows, and we're going to investigate Ed Mangano's transcript to make sure that he actually graduated from this school, because he touts it every time we're here. He keeps saying, I graduated. He didn't play football, we know that now. But his athletic prowess is good. Bellone has lost some weight, that's good. I think I found his weight, so that's okay. We're joined here by two of my colleagues, Senator Campanin and Senator Jack Martins from Long Island. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. But we're also here to pass legislation and to sign legislation into law. Very important legislation. Some years ago, I started a problem for some people. It was a benefit to a lot of others, and that was hands-free driving with a cell phone. You can't hold a cell phone and drive a car. You gotta have a hands-free device. I wish, Governor, I was smart enough to have a piece of the action of all of the pieces of equipment that were created to make cell phones hands-free. Bluetooth, the phone gizmo that you put in your ear, all the little plug-in devices, everything else, worth millions. You and I, we could be fishing striped bass. Right now, someplace we'd be happy. Joe Saladino would love it. It works. This is the kind of thing that would go. But a whole industry has evolved on just that bill. We moved ahead. We went and progressed even further when technology kept moving. Texting. Young people do a lot of texting. The governor helped pass, and we worked together on these bills, the anti-texting bills, to save lives. That's the key. Some people, you know, Senator, what are you doing this for? It's a pain in the neck. You know, we can do it. We're safe. We know what we're doing. People are dying, getting injured. And who's dying? And who's getting injured? Chuck's friends. He's right. Young people, teenagers, young drivers. We're killing or allowing to be killed our young people by allowing speeding in school zones, by not doing something to enforce the laws in these zones. We're allowing and putting at risk the future of our state, the future of our country, and our most cherished heritage, our youth. So it's with great pleasure that I join the governor here today and my colleagues to support this legislation. It's not without controversy. There are people who are not happy with it. They don't like it, Big Brother and all that. You've heard, I'm sure you've heard all of that. I disagree totally. And I've responded to people very simply. Those numbers on the signs that you see on the side of roads, you know, 5.5, 3.5, 6.5, they're not suggestions. They're fact, they're real. You're supposed to adhere to these rules. If it says don't go faster than this in a zone, don't go faster than that. And no one will give you a hard time. No one will stop you, no one will give you a ticket, no one will pull you over. So if you don't want to get caught, don't break the law. It's as simple as that. I have no pity for people who break the law and then cry about it when they get caught. because there's probably 1,000 times that they didn't get caught. We want to protect our children. We want to protect the lives of the citizens of our state, the citizens of our community, our neighbors, our friends, our brothers and our sisters. That's what's important. The governor knows this. He's made this a priority. He's made this legislation a priority. It is certainly a priority of mine, and I know it's a priority of our next speaker, because she deals with school boards and PTAs and all the rest of that, running the great schools in the village of Bethpage. We want to keep our children safe. So it's my pleasure now to introduce the next speaker, and that will be Karen Fiker? I got it right. Karen Fiker.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Karen Fiker, and I am the president of the Bethpage Council of PTAs. I am also the mother of 2 Bethpage students. My son attends Bethpage High School, and my daughter will soon be joining him after her middle school graduation this afternoon. As both a parent and a PTA member, safety is one of my highest priorities, and I know perfectly well how important this legislation is for families and communities like ours. In my 11 years working with the PTA, I've met with parents and teachers that live throughout our school district, and something that really keeps people up at night are the dangers of drivers who speed in school zones. Take Bethpage High School here, for example. Anyone who is familiar with this area will tell you that the intersection out front is dangerous. We're situated between 2 main thoroughfares, and despite being in a school zone with crossing guards, some drivers still disregard the speed limit and put our children's lives in danger. That's unacceptable, especially when you consider that many students in this area actually walk to and from school every day. So the bill that Governor Cuomo is signing today is one that our community truly needs, because it will protect our students and has the potential to save many lives. It will remind drivers that there is more at stake than just their commute, and it will give parents like me added peace of mind. I would now like to introduce the governor of the great state of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good morning to all of you. It's my pleasure to be back in Bethpage. Pleasure to be at Bethpage High School. First, Karen, thank you very much. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service to the community. Let's give Karen a round of applause. County Executive Ed Mangano, it's a pleasure to be at your alma mater. You can tell a lot about Ed and Linda being here. First, you can tell that Ed was aiming high, even when he was in high school, thinking that he could get Linda to date him. And you can tell that Linda was very kind, that she agreed to date Ed. And those 2 things are still true. Let's give them a round of applause for aiming high and for being kind. County Executive Steve Bellone. The County Executive Bellone and County Executive Mangano and myself have done a lot of good work. We've been together, good times, bad times, and we've really gotten to know each other. And the people of Nassau and the people of Suffolk are very lucky, because county executives are very important, and you have 2 of the best, I dare say, in this country, in Steve Bellone and in Ed Mangano. Let's give them both a round of applause again. To Assemblyman Chuck Levine, Senator Carl Marcellino, my colleagues from Albany, who are doing extraordinary work in representing their communities, to all my colleagues from the legislature. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. The legislative session is now over. Legislative session basically runs January to June. In June, the legislature leaves, and they come back next January, unless the governor calls a special session, which he can do if he has something important to do, and if he wants to ruin the legislators' summers, which sometimes they like to do. They called the legislature back, but I don't think that's going to happen this year, because we had a really extraordinary session. As Assemblyman Levine said, we had a banner year. We did have a banner year. First order of doing business when you're in government is you have to make the government work. especially if you're in state government in Albany. For a lot of years, state government just didn't work in Albany. You see it now when they talk about Washington. They call it gridlock. What is gridlock? Gridlock is when you have Democrats and Republicans in a government, and they're more interested in pursuing their own politics than in doing the job they were sent there to do. So the Democrats and the Republicans play their own politics, and you wind up with people bumping heads. They call that gridlock. There's paralysis. Nothing happens. And who loses? The people lose. Because when the government does nothing, then it doesn't address the needs of the people. And that's not just Washington. That was also Albany and state government for many, many, many years. We passed 4 budgets in a row on time in Albany. That sounds like, well, it's no big deal. That's what you're supposed to do anyway. I know it's what you're supposed to do anyway, but it is actually a very big deal. It's the first time in 40 years the New York State Legislature completed 4 budgets in a row on time. And the credit goes to the legislature because they really decided that they were going to do it a different way. And we have a new mantra. Yes, we're Democrats. Yes, we're Republicans, but we're New Yorkers first, and we're going to act that way. So first order of business was getting the job done, and they did. Second order of business was to focus on the needs of New Yorkers, and the primary need, you feel it here on Long Island, was getting taxes down. Why? Because the state has been spending too much money for too long. The state's actually been spending more money than the people in the state were actually earning. I didn't think you could do that. I didn't think you could spend more money than you make. But state government in Albany figured out a way to do it. And that's what keeps driving up the taxes. The taxes go up because we spend a lot of money. You spend a lot, you have to tax a lot. We reduced spending to 1.2% more per year for 4 years. We have a 2% spending cap. We didn't even hit the 2% spending cap. We actually spent 1.2% more. Lowest rate of spending since they have been keeping numbers. That's how low our rate of spending was. Because we spent less, we could tax less. And we cut taxes all across the board. Every person in the state of New York pays a lower tax rate today than they did 4 years ago. Personal income tax is at its lowest level since 1953. Corporate tax, lowest level since 1968. Manufacturing tax, lowest level since 1917. And property taxes, which are the single worst tax in the state of New York, is the property tax. First, we capped it, and now we actually cut it in this budget, so people are going to feel relief in their property taxes. So that was job one. Job two, also a priority, was making New Yorkers safe. And we did that a number of ways. We passed a piece of legislation on heroin that I believe is going to save young lives especially. And I applaud Senator Kemp Hannon for his good work on that bill. There has been, give him a round of applause. There has been a frightening explosion in the use of heroin. And heroin is not new. We had a heroin problem back in the 60s and the 70s, but this is much, much worse. This heroin is much more potent. It's much less expensive. They have $5 bags of heroin, $10 bags of heroin, and it's affecting a much younger audience. Heroin in the 60s were what we call older users, 28, 30, 32 years old. These are high school students. These are young teens, and it's getting younger and younger. And it is frightening. And we passed a comprehensive bill that has more law enforcement. 100 more New York State police are going to be assigned just to interdicting heroin. Insurance companies now have to cover the heroin treatment. We have an education program. More education, more public awareness. more of a drug that actually can help people who overdose. So the heroin bill was very important. We passed a medical marijuana bill that is the right balance between treating people and also making sure we're safe. And the bill that we're here to talk about today, which is simple and right. It is about traffic safety. We lose about 80 people per year, 80 fatalities, about 1,600 people injured from traffic fatalities. Half of all traffic fatalities involve pedestrians. Half of all traffic accidents involve pedestrians. So it is a very real problem, and this is a very simple and right solution. It uses technology to do justice, and that's what this is. And Senator Marcellino is exactly right. If you think speed cameras are intrusive, don't break the law. And if you don't break the law, you don't have anything to worry about. And if you're speeding in front of a school, you should have something to worry about, because it is reckless. Speeding in and of itself is reckless. Speeding near a school is especially reckless. And that's what these cameras are designed to do. And these cameras will save lives. I am certain of it. And there is nothing more important than that. We have 69 in Suffolk. We have 59 in Nassau County. They are long overdue. I think they are the right use of the technology at the right time. So I applaud the county executives for proposing them. I applaud the legislature for passing them. And that's no finer responsibility of government than actually keeping people safe and actually saving lives. And that's what this bill will do today. It's my pleasure to be here. I ask the legislators to join me in signing the bill.
I want to thank everybody for joining us here today to make certain that we have a safer New York State for our students, we have a safer Nassau County, and safer school districts for all. Once again, let's give Governor Cuomo and the state legislators a big round of applause for their actions here today. God bless you and God bless America.